Part 4. A knock on my door woke me up with painful difficulty. My eyes groggily opened with searing pain as I checked my phone. 5 o'clock. It wasn't even light out yet. I had probably slept less than an hour. The wind-up clock on my dresser had stopped midway through the night. "Come on," Aunt Cheryl prompted from the other side of the door. "You already had your day off, mister. Let's get to it." Sorry, I rubbed my eyes, sitting up and wincing. My alarm, the clock in my room stopped running. "Take it to Royce," she responded. "Once you've had some breakfast, your schedule's on the service counter." Right. I nodded to my empty room. "Thanks, Cheryl." "Sure thing," she cheered. "I'm talking to contractors all day today, so if you or anyone else needs me, you'll have to wait until after 6 or just text me." "Gotcha," I responded, heavily swinging my legs off the bed and getting to my feet. "See you later, then." Her footsteps receded away from the door, and the sounds quickly muted away as my eyes caught my hand. "Goodbye" was scrawled across it in poor handwriting. I hesitated to stare at this for some time, turning it every which way to figure out if I remembered putting it there. Taking all of my willpower to convince myself that it must have been Sylvia or Royce and that I would ask them later, I jammed a toothbrush in my mouth and hurriedly searched for my winter coat. It looked cold out today. The towering mountains daunting the manor were being choked out by a gray mist, a light, constant drizzle tapping fingers at the glass of my window. I had plenty of time to grab my coat, placing my gardening gloves into my pocket before casually strolling towards the door. At the last minute, I also grabbed the clock, nodding to myself as a congratulations for remembering it. I went to open the door before pausing. It was layered with scratches, as if something had tried to claw its way out. But that wasn't quite it. They were almost more like tick marks. Hundreds, maybe thousands of them. I paused for several seconds of sheer silence before blinking heavily to watch them disappear. I frowned, rubbing my eyes in disbelief and glancing around the room to see if something was wrong with my vision. After confirming to myself I had apparently just experienced a strange temporary blurriness, I cautiously turned back to the door and opened it. The hallway was empty. But more than that, it somehow felt cold. Everything felt strangely empty, only my footsteps permeating the space. "Okay, one last time, you fuck," a voice suddenly spoke. "You better fucking thank me." A pale hand suddenly snatched the wind-up clock from my grasp like some kind of ninja. I whirled around to come face to face with Haze Borden. My cheeks flushed red immediately, confusion splitting across my face. Her hair was tied back, glimmering earrings dangling softly by her pale neck. She seemed strangely comfortable in her pink dress, the design some weird mix of skimpy and business formal that almost made it appear like she was getting ready for an awkward high school prom. "I get it, you're attracted to me," she hissed. "Stop being a blabbering idiot. You'd think after all these years of literally the same exact shit over and over, you'd learn to make a fucking move, you limp dick piece of shit." She kissed me with an action that felt more like a slap. My heart stopped dead, convinced reality had just broke as my hands splayed out. "Don't think about that too hard," she followed up with a snap. "I get that moved fast for you, not like I give a shit. As much as I enjoy this conversation and variations of it, I wanted to try something else with you. Again, it may seem strange, but it might be helpful." Wait, Miss Borden?" I tensed, unable to keep myself from backing up as she approached way too close for comfort. This is some kind of setup, right? What the actual fuck is... "You have my pen," she spoke softly, pointing to where a pant pocket may have been on her dress. My eyebrows cocked, my hand moving to mirror her movement and check my pant pocket. I reached inside with growing confusion to produce a small black ink ballpoint pen. "You'll rot here," she whispered softly as she grabbed it from me, tone shifting to something completely out of nowhere. "If you forget everything, remember this. You can be conscious without breaking it." Her forehead clacked against mine as she looked down and grabbed my hand. Her pen rapidly scratched across the back of my palm, writing directly over "Goodbye." I must escape. The ink was scrawled and hasty, yet clearly legible. Suddenly, she twisted my wrist back on itself before slamming it against the wall with a hard crack. I flinched and nearly yelped, horrified confusion invading my face as she finally let go and I wrenched my hand away. What the hell was that? Such a weird thing to do out of nowhere. Her face slowly knitted in flushed embarrassment as she quickly did an awkward dance move, as if forced to do so by an invisible hand controlling puppet strings. She wiggled her hands like someone who had never even attempted to find rhythm in their life, the entire routine frighteningly bad. This wasn't her character. What the hell was happening? Where had I seen this before? After spinning around with a horrid lack of grace, she finally caught her breath and gave a thumbs up to mask her cherry red face. "Do you remember yesterday?" She finally spoke as if nothing had just happened, standing upright and recapping her pen. She gazed at me curiously, continuing, "How's your arm?" "Yes, what the heck was that?" I certainly wasn't in any danger of laughing, my only reaction confusion and concern. What the heck did you just do? What is happening?" I was definitely having some sort of psychotic episode. Was I still dreaming? "Come on," Haze responded, face slowly giving way to despair. "Not after all that." "Yesterday," I tried to humor her in my concern. "I mean, yes, I remember meeting you and doing some things around the manor. What was that about my arm? Aside from the fact you just slammed it against a wall." "John, please." She looked like she was about to break. "I came back for you even after I promised I wouldn't. You have to give me this." Something in the distance howled. She extended her arm to offer the pen to me, holding her ground as her grip tightened in fear. I stared at the ballpoint pen, a prickling sensation itching at the back of my eyes. The lights above flickered. How did I have that before?" I staggered. Are you sure that's your pen? How was that in my pocket already?" "Oh, all right," she nodded solemnly. "Listen, John, I'm sorry about that. I like to mess with people sometimes. I don't get many chances to let out weirdness. Can you hold on to this pen?" She extended her arm to offer it to me. I stared at the ballpoint pen, a prickling sensation itching at the back of my eyes. The lights above flickered. "You already offered me I staggered. Are you sure that's your pen? How was that in my pocket already? Oh, all right, she nodded solemnly. Listen, John, I'm sorry about that. I like to mess with people sometimes. I don't get many chances to let out weirdness. Can you hold on to this pen? She extended her arm to offer it to me. You gave that to me yesterday. I staggered. Are you sure that's your pen? How was that? You already did this. We already did all of this. A spark of orange left a bulb overhead to split to blackness. Everything went dark. Silence reigned for what felt like an eternity before a hideous sound cut through the darkness, like shattering bone. The room fluttered, blood speckling my shoe before I glanced to my arm in horror. A ghastly wound had spread up my arm as if punctured by a great white shark. Blood dripped down to my shoe just like before. Before? How many times had this happened? Just yesterday. A faint voice shuddered in the distance, Haze's silhouette shakily warping, looking wrong in my peripherals as dark liquid spread through the air like water. Focus on yesterday, don't attract attention. My eyes finally jittered to look at her, widening in panic as I saw scars forming across her collarbone and throat like a necklace of razor teeth. The wound looked just like mine. Her pale flesh was quickly swamped by red, an image that slowly blurred to nothing as I closed my eyes and flinched away. Her corpse collapsed to the floor. Blood thundered through the air around me like a swarm of drowning insects. Yesterday, I tried to block out the noise and searing visuals, refraining from looking at anything or anyone. The dead light overhead inexplicably stuttered back to life like a fake candle. Scuttling resounded as if just out of view, rotten fingers peeling back floorboards. I talked to you yesterday. I spoke aloud, almost to check if I could still hear myself through the overpowering hysteria. About this clock, but you said you wanted to fix it. Something about it was paranormal. We talked in your room, My mind flashed back to the drawing on her hand, my heart shuddering wildly against my ribs. A dragon eating a lion. A jagged, painful memory played through foggy vision, Haze grinning softly as I drew a jellyfish on her hand. Then a mongoose, then a pelican, then flashes of hundreds of animals. Her appearance didn't change each time except to slowly decay further, as if a decomposing corpse, the room around us falling into deterioration as if rotting flesh itself. Then everything cut out. Slowly, white filled my vision. At first I thought I was seeing nothing, until my gaze flicked from the white wall to see a dirty chrome surface. A tray lay atop it, made of the same metal material. 2 syringes were partially submerged in a shallow puddle of clear liquid inside. Ready? Haze spoke softly. My vision flicked to see her hand in mine, a large metallic door just ahead. I gripped her hand harder, nodding softly. My other hand held a Glock, the weight like an anvil dragging me down. "We'll remember," I spoke in a voice far more confident and mature than the one I knew, as I put my forehead against hers. "I promise, we'll rot in there. We can be conscious without breaking it." Haze spoke softly as if reading off a memorized script, pulling out a black pen. "I must escape," she wrote on my hand holding the gun, a message I copied onto hers. "No matter how long it takes," I spoke with growing anxiety as I spun Haze around in a waltz. "No matter how many years pass, we won't stay lost in there. We won't lose each other. No matter how long it takes, we'll remember." She filled in the rest of the speech, beginning to sweat as she completed the duet dance routine, and my hand dropped from her waist. "One of us will wake up. I won't forget about you. We'll see this through to the end." I forced a smirk to match Haze's terrified grin, lifting the gun between her eyes. "We will kill it," I whispered. "If it's the last thing we ever do, we'll do it together." I slammed the trigger back. Haze fell limp with a violent spray of blood, crippled body shattering against the ground. The lead bullet softly leaked blood into a drain in the center of the room, as I calmly turned the gun on myself. I gave a soft thumbs up to a cluster of mounted ceiling cameras, several of which were broken. My finger tightened on the trigger. I snapped to the manor to find that no time had passed at all. Haze's corpse was standing again, my body staggering as her hands clasped around my back in a hug that knocked the wind out of me. Memories still flashed like distant light bulbs, but most of them were far too elusive and faint. All I knew was that this routine here had happened before. All of it. For years and years. Haze quickly pulled back, relief clouded over by overwhelming concern. The scars on her neck slowly ebbed away but didn't disappear entirely. "How much do you remember?" She hastily spoke, standing rigid and stiff as if afraid of moving. "What is your name?" What the hell is... I was having trouble breathing. I don't remember anything I saw. We were here in some room, some white room. I've seen all of this before. "Your name," she just repeated, forcing my hands against my sides to stop me from waving them. My name?" I shook my head. John Matthews, what do you mean? What the fuck is happening?" "No," she flinched. "Elle. Your name is Elle Dahmer. What is mine? How did we die, Elle?" "My name is John," I fought back. What the hell are you talking about? I've never seen you, but I remember a gun. Some kind of gunshot." "That's wrong." Haze shook her head. "You're remembering wrong. We don't have time for this. Do you remember our conversation yesterday?" No, I shot you," I corrected as I fought to grab back the memory. I remember clearly that then I killed myself. I don't know why, but I knew you a long time ago." "I was shot," Haze shook her head. "But not by you. We were already dead when you shot me. You're wrong. I don't have time to explain. Shut the fuck up if you don't want to die for good." I noticed the dark, rotten hallway behind Haze stretching into oblivion, mangled and twisted like an optical illusion. It almost appeared to be made out of flesh, gnarled silhouettes draping down from the ceiling like peeling wounds. If you break a pattern, something horrible will happen. Haze's voice was inexplicably deathly quiet and afraid. A churning sound slithered in my peripheries, almost like fur roiling in a blender. The day must play out exactly as before. Haze kept her eyes on the floor. If you slip up or say something out of line, it will know. Remember your lines, avoid suspicion, and wait for the time when we meet again in this pattern. I wish I had more time to explain, but you have to trust me until then. Things are about to change. Forever. Her face leaned close, lips practically pressed against my ear as she whispered, "There is something watching us." Cold rushed down the hallway, flesh-like hallucinations fading and leaving the dark expanse that appeared utterly empty. No light emanated from the cobweb-encrusted lamps. Let me ask you, John, what exactly is it you think I do? Haze swallowed hard, immediately stiffening. What makes me so different from anyone else? Wait, what? I whispered, feeling the hairs on the back of my neck stand straight. Haze, let me ask you, John, what exactly is it you think I do? She repeated with a harsher tone. What makes me so different from anyone else, aside from the fact that I know whatever left these bite marks is still here? Her eyes seared into mine, gashes slightly visible across her neckline. Scuttling softly popped like static from every corner of the manor, a sort of ethereal fog drifting gently across the carpet. Well, I quickly staggered, my saliva tasting like ash as I realized what she was getting at. I guess I would have to say I imagine you as a scary time bomb-infused, emotionless legislative robot whose father will deport me from the United States the minute I step within a few feet. I had to swallow again, the raw fear in her eyes making it hard to breathe. And you probably have laser eyes, I finished. The ones that make the scary pew 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 ray gun sound also make the sound where I ask what the hell you're talking about. Oh, well, never mind then. Haze nodded, forced smile splitting across her face. I thought you might have unrealistic expectations, but that all sounds about right. Especially the part where it's something I don't understand, but I'm certain gets more dangerous the more you know. No, I get your point. I felt physically nauseous. I'm sorry, that must be, frustrating. I want to see you as a normal person, but I also don't want to be rude, you know? Then what the fuck is your plan? I'm sure you can do whatever the heck you want. I just didn't expect you to be so normal. Normally kinda strange, that is. Which is stupid. I know. She nodded, earrings sparkling. I will talk to management later, she returned, quickly sliding her dress strap back into place as it started to slip from her shoulder. Thank you again for your time. I apologize my request ran long. I will make it up to you when I tell you that even I am a pattern and can only recall up to 3 cycle days before my memory begins to fade. I write down what I need to remember, but the more I know, the more dangerous it is to reteach myself everything that I forget. It's also harder to pretend I don't know. No. I shook my head, flushing. Really, it's fine. You don't need to talk to them. They'll believe me. Believe me about how I saw your walls of information and that you thought the clock was a key to something. What is it a key to? I felt nothing but fear as she fiddled with her hair, placing a bobby pin in her mouth and grinning through clenched teeth. Okay then, she finally spoke, placing the pin back in place. Let me know if there is anything I can do, other than tell you that the key is to a black canister outside. Something that holds the answers. Enjoy your workday where you may be tortured to see if you're still in a pattern. They will be checking to see if you keep going with the pattern or break. If you break, if you scream, cry, do anything, we both die. Right, I snap back to attention. I'll see you later, right? Right? Can you not say anything else after this point, since you didn't talk last time? What am I supposed to do if I'm in a situation I don't remember? What happens if I break a pattern I don't know? She quickly turned and strode away, heels clacking silently on the carpet. She was shaking. She's a ghost hunter, I had to mutter to myself as I shook my head. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck.